59:44 today. Kirk.
Man, that was longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, we had a spirited debate there on a couple different topics, like always. This what makes the show good. I don't really have like a lot to say about Kirk. I was going to, I started writing this like monologue I was going to put out, and I think a couple of things come to mind for me about the whole Kirk thing when I think about what happened. I recommend people watch the video, the close-up video, the gruesome one, because you need like a tangible reminder of what it means to be somebody who speaks against the popular narrative. That's number one. Number two, there is no rationale for killing someone like this. Obviously, I don't have to tell our listeners that, but there are some people who are a little more left-leaning than I am who listen to this show, including friends and family of mine. No matter what that guy said, I don't care what he said. I don't care what you think he said about trans people, black people, women. I have not heard any comments that I find particularly egregious. Maybe I'm missing them. I admit that I'm not like a frequent viewer of Mr. Kirk's. But no matter what he said, he doesn't deserve that outcome. His kids don't deserve it. His wife doesn't deserve it. His family doesn't deserve it. There's just no excuse for that. And I think the third thing, and maybe the most important and the one that's most worth talking about, is I don't want to say we, because I don't think I have a home on the political right necessarily, but the political right can no longer reconcile with the left in any meaningful way, as far as policy, as far as governance, as far as anything from the flavor of cookies they buy at the store to, whether or not your daughter wearing a plaid shirt necessitates the, lopping off of her breasts at 8 years old. There's nothing these people agree on. And this is the natural outcome of divisive politics from divisive people. And I will just add that I think very critically, you and I are in content, and I think we've done a good job staying away from extreme content, and the channel's grown, albeit slowly, consistently. And we've been recognized by some pretty big names over the years and had some pretty nice opportunities afforded to us because of it. But if you look at content more broadly, what you see is a lot of sensationalism and divisiveness as by design. Guys like Piker and Ethan Klein and Barry Weiss and Rogan and others, well, they may view themselves correctly or incorrectly as moderates and as, purveyors of modern thought and 30,000-foot observers. They're appealing to audiences that are two things: fragmented and becoming more extreme. And what I mean by that is, if you look at someone like Hassan Piker, and actually Sam Hyde talked about this today, a guy I kind of like once in a while. He talked about this today, but this is in my notepad, my Evernote app. If you look at guys like Hassan Piker, Ethan Klein, and others, there's a need to entertain an audience that is more and more short on attention, demands more and more alignment ideologically, and the only way to meet the appetite of those people is to become more and more extreme. And so when Hassan Piker gets online and says, we have to let the blood of the capitalists soak the streets if they don't want to sell their homes, when Ethan Klein gets on TV and says that, we have to murder people who are against this war or that war, this defense or that defense, when guys like Gavin Newsom say, we have to punch these sons of bitches in the mouth. When people get on TV and call Trump a fascist, Hitler, people go on, television and say stuff about how he'll end democracy. The president, Biden, famously, he's a threat to democracy, threat to your family, threat to the American way. Like, none of these things are true. And a lot of people our age, Len, you and I are about 10 years apart. A lot of people our age can parse that information, but we're in the sweet spot. Me and you we remember a traditional news diet, and we remember a digital news diet. My parents can't do it. The kids that I coached can't do it. And I think the kids coming up now are going to have a hard time too. They're going to have a hard time metabolizing information in a way that's beneficial and productive for them, where they can make their own decisions. They're going to be slave to, my chair almost broke, slave to screens and YouTube shorts and clickbait and slop and all these things. And why do I bring this up? I bring it up because if you look at the kid who committed the shooting, allegedly committed the shooting. I mean, he hasn't been charged yet, I don't think. But if you look at the kid who committed the shooting, what do you see? You see a kid who went to school for trades, has a conservative family. His father was in the military, I believe. As the story goes, his father realized that his son had committed the crime, and his first call was to his pastor to talk to him about what the best course of action was and find some, get some spiritual guidance. Totally lost step in decision making these days. And for that kid to have a family like that, and a family that, you see liberal commentators saying, well, his entire family's Republican, he's the lone Democrat, how could this happen? Well, you're sort of giving up the game there a little bit. This kid was going to trade school and then decided to leave and go to this university in Utah. And in one semester went from, what I'll call a normal kid, average kid, to a political assassin on the back of what seems to be Discord chats, furry obsession, and maybe also some trans ideology sympathy. These things are unhealthy when unregulated. And I think there's a lot of reasons, people talk about what is the profile of a shooter in America. And it's the same thing all the time. It's men. Or I shouldn't say they almost never talk about how it's all men. They talk about the political stripe. They talk about online extremism and aggravation and radicalization. They talk about families. They talk about gun control. They talk about all these things. What they never talk about, though, Len, is how they're all men. And, whether they view themselves as men or would put male in their Tinder or Grindr or furry profile is a different story than what the reality is. I don't think we should be afraid of saying that anymore. The problem that we're having with shooters is that there's a crisis in masculinity more than anything. And like, when I look at what the sort of path this kid probably took is, it's a path that's normal for every kid in the Western world at this point. You have parents who, I'm not like this. I'm sure you're not like this. And then probably our listeners are not like this either, but I'll describe it anyway, because I do think this is the norm. You have parents who are too busy to really guide their kids, especially their male kids, in terms of how to develop a sense of male identity. There's a clear and obvious lack of positive male role models. And I will describe my own positive male role models here. I won't dance around this. I'm talking about males who are physically strong, mentally strong, not afraid to say the right thing, high T, leaders of families, decision makers, things of this nature. There's a lack of that. And while it was the case that when I was growing up, when I went to school, there was male teachers, and especially as I got older and through high school, the ratio of male to female teachers increased significantly. And so when I needed that guidance the most as a young man, I was able to get it from teachers and coaches and things like that. Now, you send your kid to daycare at, 1 year old, 2 years old, whatever, and they're around predominantly women. You need to hope those women are not radicalized by MSNBC, because let's face it, it's not kids watching CNN and NBC all day. It's their parents, right? And it's the teachers and it's the caregivers. So you got to hope that they're not radicalized. Then after that, you send them off to Estrogen Elementary down the street where all the teachers are women. You can go on, by the way, almost any Hamilton Wentworth District School Board Instagram page, probably any Toronto District School Board Instagram page, you name it. You pick your board all across the country, Catholic, public, private, doesn't matter. All the teachers are women. And the guys who are teaching there look like they're effeminate. It's a bunch of guys who look like they're weak. And no matter what you do, you're just not going to get the guidance you need as a young man in that environment. And what does that lead you to? It leads you to a set of feelings where the best thing you can do is be a victim. The prevalent way to get ahead is to find the thing that makes you weak and exploit it. And you don't exploit it by growing, a branch from that part of your tree and going against the grain and analyzing that weakness and making it a strength. what you do is you make sure that everyone else remembers your week and you don't let them advance either. And so you wind up with a bunch of kids, men especially, who are lacking the traits they need to become decision makers, to become conquerors, to become attractive to women, to become attractive to employers, to become attractive to all these different things. They become androgynous, not just in their sexuality, but in their manliness. And you can say whatever you want about, is it fair to criticize this kid in this way? I think it is. I think that there's a clear issue there with his gender identity, not in the way that the left would describe gender identity, but in the way that I would describe it. He doesn't know how to be a man. He doesn't know how to take a challenge head on. He doesn't know how to handle conflict, how to add value and become valuable to people and find value in others as a result, right? You can't identify value if you can't produce any yourself. That's my opinion. And so in the US and other Western nations, you have these problems. And you can tell me anything you want about Charlie Kirk demonizing trans people and, making it difficult for them to live or say the right things. The fact of the matter is, he was the only guy willing to talk about it with them on their turf. He's going to these colleges, he's going to public venues, he's on a podcast, he's speaking about it in a way that I think the left will find out the hard way was the moderate position, because what you're not going to get is Charlie Kirk replaced by somebody less willing to discuss those things. Okay. It's not going to be, you're not going to slide, toward the center or toward more moderation. You're going to slide toward Fuentes, you're going to slide toward Sam Hyde. If you've never watched Nick Fuentes' show, Nick Fuentes is right about a lot of things, but abrasive is too kind a word, in describing his style and his thoughts. Sam Hyde, same thing. If you watch Sam Hyde's video today, I recommend everyone watch it. It's like 40 minutes long, but it's worth it. Put it on the background. You're going to get worse. Now, the fear that you should have as a Canadian, Bitcoiner, American, whatever, is that now the libertarian stripe, and a lot of people seems to have disappeared. Guys like Nick Carter, and I would add myself to this group too. I have now a desire to see institutional power that happens to be in the control of the right for the moment, harnessed to destroy these left-leaning groups. I want to see Discord investigated. I want to see Reddit investigated. I want to see Blue Sky. By the way, Parler and Gab taken down from app stores for a 1/1 millionth of the content you see on Blue Sky since the Charlie Kirk assassination. I want to see people lose their jobs over this. I want to see people lose their relationships. I want to see people struggle and suffer and hurt for their feelings on the unnecessary, violent murder of a young father for his thoughts and his willingness to debate them. That's a dangerous place to be for us, for me specifically. I'll just talk about myself. I realize that giving the government this kind of power is a mistake. And yet the desire still is there, and it's burning very brightly inside me. And I've said this to 100 people in the last 3 days, if not more, that we have to be measured in what we allow the government to do here. Because Trump talking about making Antifa a terrorist organization, while it may seem appealing on its face, is a bad idea. Trump talking about investigating people who are adjacent to this guy, people in his Discord chat, like that's a dicey idea too. And I don't know, what's going to come next, but I do think the next year, especially the midterms next year, where this will for sure be an election issue. Charlie Kirk's wife will for sure speak at the Republican convention in 2028, as will many others. There's something brewing in the States, and I'll just close with this and I'll pass it to you. Whatever you think about America and whatever you think about Kirk and whatever you think about political violence, whether it's Luigi or this kid dressed up as a dragon on weekends, they need to make it through this over there. We talk on this show every week about the failures and shortcomings of once great nations, the cradle of some of the most important democratic values in Europe is failing, if it hasn't failed already. Here in Canada, we are on the brink of never being able to come back from what we started 100 years ago. And if America fails, there will be no more beacon, no more ideology, no more example for countries that need somewhere to look for what it can be to be a more free nation, to be a better nation, to be a united people, to have a tradition you can be proud of, and one that's worth defending and is defended. If they fail, the whole world is in trouble. And so whether or not you agree with all this stuff or disagree or think I'm crazy or think that this is a necessary outcome for whatever reason, they have to make it. Because if they don't, we're all in trouble. And that's something that should be unpalatable to everybody, regardless of your political stripe. So anyway, thanks for indulging me there. What do you think about the Kirk thing?
I had no idea who he was before all this took place. You could have put him in a lineup of two people, and I would have a 50-50 chance to guess who he was.
He's kind of off our beaten path. I really only knew him from like memes where his face was shrunken down. That's where I really started to see a lot of him. But I've watched some of his stuff recently. But you are correct. I was not familiar with him either.
No idea who he was before all this took place. And to be entirely frank, I still don't know entirely who the fuck he is, because I didn't go down this rabbit hole to research who he is. But I have listened to some of his speeches. I have read a little bit of what he's written, and it may not capture entirely who he is. It seems like there's been a evolution of Charlie Kirk over the past while.
You talking like in the last week or the last like few years?
Few years.
Okay.
I don't think that things evolve that quickly with an individual, but either way, like I will say this, because for who he was, I don't entirely agree exactly 100% what he says. And before somebody bites my head off, I don't agree with anybody on this earth. 100%.
Exactly.
I have my own beliefs, and you know what? Some of them go against what Charlie Kirk says, but it doesn't mean you should go out and kill the guy, right? Because one thing I don't agree with is going up against an idea with bullets, because that is not a solution. What we do have here, and it's not talked about a lot, is it seems like we have a psychological warfare that's being played out here. It's not a traditional war where you have the guns, the bombs, the bullets, all that shit. This is something a little bit different, and it's been going on for a very long time, Joey. And we could go back when Russia was invaded. Sorry, when Ukraine was invaded by Russia. What was the immediate response to that? That was, I believe, in 2022 February. I could be wrong in my.
Yeah, I think it's 22.
Wimbledon took place, as it does every year, in June. What was Wimbledon's response? This is the most prestigious tournament in tennis. They banned, for that year, 2022, Russian and Belarus players from playing in the tournament. Not for what they believed in, not for what they said, not for going to the front line and shooting guns in Ukraine, for simply being either Belarus or Russian, for having a Belarus passport and a Russian passport. This is the type of stuff that happened 100 years ago. We vilified people for this type of response. The same thing was done not too long ago, and still there's nothing being said about this. To show this stupidity of this, Joey, there's a breed of cats called a Russian blue. It's just a gray cat, very cute. I think I had one. I'm not sure exactly. She's either Russian blue or something else. Anyway, they banned this from cat competitions, right? It was the I forget the name of it, but the International Cat Federation, they banned Russian blues from entering those cat competitions for being judged. It's a fucking cat that just happens to have maybe been bred originally in Russia. Why the fuck do you ban a cat from entering a competition? How fucking stupid is this? This is psychological warfare in full bloom right in front of us. Mm-hmm. And it's going on right now. If you go against the narrative of the day, right? If you don't want to get injected, you are what? You are against, air quote, the science. You know what I mean? You're against the fucking science, right? If you have an opposing viewpoint of Florida being underwater by the year 2015, And at the same time, the people that are in charge are buying up seaside or oceanside property, and you say that this shit's not going to happen, you are also against the fucking science, right? You want to go for a walk in the woods in Eastern Canada, and if you don't have a significant documentation to show your heritage, you are a fucking arsonist for wanting to go for a walk in the wood. Then it's becoming to a point where you can't even think a certain way. You know, case in point, universities and colleges, right? You go to a humanities or a social science class and you fucking raise your hand and you bring up an opposing viewpoint, you tell me what is going to be the response from that.
Yep.
Everybody knows what it's going to be. It's going to be just fucking brutal. And it's sad because growing up, I had a image, and even when attending, I had an image of what university is and was. It's gone. It's gone. Like, this is where you should be debating ideas. You should be having dialogue, where you should be advancing discussion, advancing science. Shit like this, it's not being done, right? What we have now, it's a fucking place of crime where somebody fucking died, shot. University of Utah, where the fuck it's called.
Utah. I don't know the name of the school, but it was in Utah. Yeah.
Now it's a crime scene, not a place where you fucking debate. It's a fucking crime scene. You have now this guy that's dead, his wife, widower, I don't know which one. His kids, 2 kids, no fucking father. Why? Because his ideas didn't jive with a few people, or maybe a lot of people. I don't know, but it's a group of folks didn't jive with. And then you have this sickening. You have people celebrating this, and they were on TikTok, they were on Instagram, they were fucking dancing, they were singing. You even had TMZ. I don't know if you saw this one when they announced it. You had people in the background fucking cheering. Teachers, doctors, professors, all stripes, airline pilots, all this shit fucking saying, this is a guy that just fucking had an idea and they fucking killed it. We had other famous people that were killed for ideas. JFK comes to mind, RFK, Martin Luther King, John Lennon. These are all people. Now, I'm not putting Kirk on the same level as these people, but the analogy, you can understand. You could kind of say, yeah, there's fucking something there. Why didn't we celebrate their deaths? Why didn't we dance on the grave of their deaths? Why are we doing it fucking now? Right? Like, it's fucking bullshit. I remember that guy, Brian Thompson, the CEO of God knows whatever the fuck is. And you were talking about Luigi. They make Luigi into a demigod. He killed somebody. Regardless, he did not kill anybody, Brian Thompson. At least it's very, very difficult to tell me that directly he killed somebody. But he died. You know, his kids are orphans, his wife, Ned. The Minnesota senator, her dog, and her husband died was it a political assassination or something? This happened just not too long ago, Joey, right? What the fuck is going on here in Canada? Oh, in the United States. What the fuck? And then you have now Charlie Cook. It's almost like a Franz Ferdinand moment to me. It reminds me of that. And they say that was the spark that just started the World War I. There's a lot of other factors too. But you have to just go back. What's going on here? There's a fucking message, that they're just trying to jam down our throat. It's fucking brutal. And you have these 2 opposing sides, it looks like, and these opposing sides are now becoming more polar opposite, and they keep jamming the message, right? And one way to do it is you got to follow what? The money of all this, right? You got because if you have money, you could control guns, you could control might, you could control the message, and that's simple to do. Like, remember in The Simpsons? I don't remember if you remember this episode when they went to a camp for the leader, the great leader, and they were like, "This guy's the best." Everybody bought into that. I think it was a joke on the Watchtower and the JWs, and everybody bought into it except for Homer. He was just too dumb to accept it. But they got to him. The Batman song, na 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 na, leader, na 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 na, and he's at the end. He's like, yeah, leader, he's the best. They got to him by that, just fucking drilling the same message over and over again. That's what it is. It's just simply brainwashing people with messages, and it's the money, man. They when money is free, they could just do whatever they want. You pay for it through inflation, but the ones that create it, it's fucking free. That's the incentive here. It's fucking money. Because with force, you can only entice them for so long, but money for almost forever. And the stuff that you look at, what's going on, like I'm going to give you an example here of how stupid things are. You could have somebody born in Canada, Joey, and this person could be a visible minority. And they could be born here. They're educated here. They have all the Canadian values and everything, whatever the fuck that means. But they're essentially Canadian. They're just visible minority. Okay, that's person A. Person B, you have somebody from Europe. We'll say Moldova, Romania, Hungary, where the fuck? A white guy comes here through the regular channels. Not for refugee, but just immigrates here. English second language. He's a foreigner in a foreign country, which now he calls home. But by any metric you look at, this guy has a disadvantage because he didn't go to school here. English is not his first language. He's got no friends, family, all this shit. But if you talk to certain people, he's got the privilege that then the other person who was born here, went to school here, got everything here, needs to be propped up at the expense of the guy that came here from overseas. This doesn't make fucking sense. It's not a one-size-fit-all fucking thing. You have to measure things individually. And that's, people don't understand that. Like, and I'm saying this now, man. If I say this in a public setting, Joey, like, who knows? Bullets may fucking fly.
Yeah.
That's a sad thing because I have ideas and maybe somebody doesn't like it. It just makes me ponder.
Think about some of the emails we used to get early on about some of the stuff we said on the show.
I memory hold that stuff.
People like tried to do a couple different things to us over the years. Remember that one guy who was like trying to dox us early on before we were like public? I'll remind you after the show. But like there's a lot of
it's Banana Republic level shit.
Yeah, yeah.
This is it. Remember 20 years ago-ish, George Bush made a lot of people angry.
Yeah.
Remember he was on standing on a podium talking and some guy threw a fucking shoe at him?
Yeah.
That's what I want. I don't want fucking bullets. I want fucking shoes thrown at people. Because at least, hopefully, nobody would get hurt. Because, let's be honest, throwing a shoe, unless you're a fucking guy wearing heels, then, you know, Destiny throwing a fucking shoe might be a lethal weapon. But the reality is, it's not going to do the same type of damage as a bullet. That's what I fucking want. You want to piss... You want to say a message, do it in a way that's not going to injure somebody permanently. Throw it a fucking shoe. Mm-hmm. Throw it lightly at the very least. But you know what? All this is going to do, Joey, you say it's going to make people go... I'm saying two directions. It's either people are going to be like, I've had enough. I'm just going to shut down. Or I'm going to go balls to the wall. Right? Like, what do we do here at the CBP? Did you not ponder what the fuck are we going to do?
I don't know. I kind of thought about it. I mean,
right? The thought came through. You know what? It came to mind, but immediately it's like, I got at least a few good years left. Let's say maybe a few. I got a few years. Well, I'm not going to say good. At least a few years left. And I'm going to fucking see it to the fucking bitter. I'm going to fucking nowhere. For thick and thin, I'm going to stick through this. So Charlie Kirk, man, I feel sorry for him. Hopefully his death won't be forgotten.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are just pissed off from this. And then rightfully so.
Yeah.
And totally. It's a psychological warfare, Joey. Don't wish for something because then it's just going to advance the war even further. How did this happen?
What did Pablo say?
One guy get the fucking...
Not Pablo, Guillaume in the bull chat. We don't have to talk about things that are said in the bull chat, but Guillaume said, he's like, you have to be careful with the things that you allow yourself to think, because while you may not, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but basically, you know, while you may not think much of them in the moment, you know, they do take a toll on you. There's a cumulative effect of the things you think and wish for and support, you know, internally. What is your internal compass pointing you towards? You have to keep that thing clean, you know? And you're right, Len. There is two directions you could go. You could go all in, or you could withdraw. I want to try and find a line between those, honestly, because I don't think withdrawing is a good idea, but
100%.
Yeah.
There may be a time it's required.
Yeah.
But for me right now, it's not.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
And Pablo's saying about like what happened over there. Like, there's something more. Like, it's not a single guy was able. It seemed like the way they're framing this was a single guy was able to.
Really crazy. Yeah. So okay, I was
You
listening
know,
to No Agenda a bit before our show, which is a show people should listen to, and I hadn't heard this theory. The kid in the video that I saw a couple of days ago clearly is walking with a limp. It looks like toward the school, and I guess the official story now is he was hiding his gun in his pants and up his shirt, so he had to like keep a straight leg. But there's no video of him walking with a limp on a staircase anywhere. There's no video of him like assembling the gun. I don't know. And like the question was about trans activism or trans shooters, and then Kirk got shot, and then another guy like bends down with his hands up, and then a block away another guy is found walking the street with like a sort of thinly concealed long gun, turns out to be a BB gun. I don't know. You're in like this moment where everything is uncanny valley. Like it's believable, but not quite, or it's just not. There's something amiss all the time. I don't know. See, this is where you shouldn't go. This is what will keep you up at night.
No, well, Boom Dust is saying JFK vibes. They killed
I don't know.
a fucking president.
Yeah.
And it was during a time, obviously, nobody had cell phones and video footage like we have now. But still, questions remain. A fucking sitting president was killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elon Musk better have a top-notch security team because he's pissed off a lot of folks over the years.
I agree.
And we've said it before. I'm surprised he's still, man, like he's got to have a good security for it. And how many times did they say Trump was attempted twice last year? Is that right?
Yeah, the guy at the golf course was the second one where they found him in the bushes with a gun. Remember?
I totally forgot that. I don't even remember it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even like why? You know what I mean? Like nobody for ideas deserves to get killed. If it's somebody, and I don't want to say anybody's deserving to get killed, but if somebody like Paul Bernardo, if something happened to him, I'm sure a lot of people would be dancing, and I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't get cancel culture as a result of that. But barring that, like I don't know anybody else that may not suffer the same type of,
It's been frustrating watching the media coverage of this. Like you only see it on Twitter because I don't watch TV for that reason, but it has been weird watching what seems to be like I don't even want to say seems to be. It's a coordinated effort to paint this guy as like some kind of misogynist, racist, bigot. Like like I said, you might disagree with him, but like the willingness to engage with people is becoming dangerous. Number one, like Destiny, a streamer, left-wing streamer, talking about how right-wingers need to be scared of dying every time they go out in public to talk like this because the message is too important or it's too hard, like it's too stupid, too harsh, too hateful, whatever. And they need to be afraid of dying. Like you could go through every media outlet, every major personality, Maddow, Olbermann, Destiny, Klein, Hassan Piker, Kara Swisher, Gavin Newsom, who's got a podcast now. By the way, Charlie Kirk appeared on his podcast. Want to note that. And hear them say stuff like, we have to neutralize the threat. Like, what? If you say it enough times, someone who is weak of mind and weak in spirit will submit to that request in a way that maybe you weren't intending, or maybe you were. I don't know. Just something to be aware of.
Very quick.
Brampton Hamilton.
The daycare.
Yeah, I saw that. Of course.
The 70-year-old. I just wanted to I'll just have to say what happened. In Richmond Hill last week, a car went through a daycare and killed one 18-month-old and injured a few other kids. 70-year-old dude. Looks like may not be totally with understanding the signs over here because he needs a translator to understand the English language. I'm not sure if you saw images of the accident, but he went through the window and then he went through an interior wall. Like the guy fucking floored it. through it. I'm not saying it was intentional, but he certainly didn't know how to fucking stop. And people like that are out there driving. I have a motorcycle, and it's been quite some time since I've started it. I don't want to get on the roads with it. It just does not seem safe. So I'm certainly changing my driving habits and what I'm doing, because there's too many people out there that just do not understand how to fucking drive.
Yeah.
And they have licenses. I don't know how the fuck they got them.
I know how they got them. Corruption from other newcomers. This guy's an Indian guy. He can't speak English. He needed a translator in the courtroom. 70 years old. I tweeted this. I'll say it on the show for people who don't follow me on Twitter. What is a 70-year-old Indian guy doing coming over to Canada? Is this helping our demographic issues? No. Is he working? Is he gainfully employed? No. Is he trying to assimilate? No. Is he using what can only be described as a scam or a corrupt, friend of his, probably another newcomer, to get a license? Yeah, he is. Of course. You can't pass a driving test without speaking English. The test is in English. The G1 test is in English. What are we talking about here? Now, the worst part is in the commentary around this on Twitter. What do you see? You see people talking about daycares need to have bollards up. No, the answer is you have to stop fucking retards from being able to drive, of all stripes, of all colors, of all whatever. Ontario laid out today a blanket ban on a lot of trucking licenses. Boomer noting that there's more trucking schools than hospitals. Boomer, that's not true. It's more trucking schools than hospitals, universities, and something else combined in Canada or in Ontario. Like, how's that possible? How can that be? It's like you're getting scammed. When you bring people from a low trust society to Canada, like, this is what happens. There will come a time when Canadians will have tired of this, and I don't know what the outcome will be at that time, but it's not going to be pretty. You're seeing this everywhere now, by the way. Australians are tweeting about their immigration issues. The UK tweeting about their immigration issues. Canada, obviously. Some places in America. Len, it's always the Indian immigration they're tweeting about. Like, I don't know what else needs to be said about this. I don't know. How many more kids are going to die? How many more, Indian gangs? How many more trucks destroying people's lives? What has to happen here? What is the answer? How much can these people be paying the decision makers to continue to allow this to be the case? And I'll just say again to Ben Rabideau and people who agreed with Ben when he was on the show talking about immigration is going to fall, blah, blah, blah. Did it fall? No, it didn't fall. It's getting worse.
All right, let's talk about the Brampton versus Hamilton man, brought to you by 256heat.com. This is where, if you want to heat up a part of your home, be it a garage, weight room,
podcast room,
bedroom, whatever it may be. One way
you Bitcoiners, if you got to heat up your bedroom with a miner, you got work to do, okay? You got work to do.
Well, one way to heat it up is to simply go to 256heat.com, purchase one of the mining units, plug it into your wall, to your outlet. And it's not, you need the 240 volts. No, you can just plug it into 120 and away you go. And you're mining. And you could get upwards around 40 to 50 terahash per second.
Yeah, what's mine running at right now? I'll tell you. I'll pull up my Ocean.
Do you have one running behind you right now, by the way?
Runs all the time. It's running at 40 terahash right now.
I will say
that I finally managed to trip this panel that this is on. I was telling Len and Twan, I was running Civ 7 on this computer, max settings. I had that thing running behind me. My wife was away, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna run this thing hot all weekend, like really fucking hot. Finally managed to get the thing to trip the breaker. But I mean, we're doing streaming right now, and it's running behind me at
your mileage may vary when you will trip the breaker.
That's my breaker. My breaker is not your breaker. My mine is running at 1100 watts right now, so about as much as a pretty big chest freezer. Not too much, not too little, and it's quiet. I mean, you guys can't hear it. I can't hear it. So there you go.
So before it gets too cold,
And a bunch of you guys are
place the
buying them,
order.
by the way. Start buying them. Start buying them. To answer
Because
Boomer's
there's-
question, I can see on Ocean, the last 5 minutes average was 37 terahash. So there you go.
So place the order before it gets too cold, and make sure you tell them that we sent you over there.
Yeah, definitely.
And with that, we could transition to the final segment of the show,
Okay.
the Hamilton versus Brampton man, or Brampton versus Hamilton man, depending on how you want to do it. The home games are going to be sent out momentarily, but until then, you can play along with us. And first up, we will talk about a gentleman who was going viral because he wanted to get his G2 and he tried to get it. Total of 11 times. 10 times he failed. And finally, at the 11th time, he managed to snag the G2.
Last spotted in a
Past that.
daycare or like different
I
guy?
don't want to say where, but
Dark
anyways,
joke,
a
dark
viral
joke. Sorry,
photo
too
was
soon.
posted. So there was a viral photo that was going around on Instagram and showing that he was a proud gentleman, and the captions with "Congratulations for clearing G2 road test in 11th attempt." And he showed it off like I am the $1 Singapore dollar. And he added that the first attempts were with other driving examiners. So it looks like those 10 probably were legit. The 11th, maybe not. Most of the comments ripped this guy a new one, and they said, "Stay at home," warned one person. And another one said, "Don't go near this dude on the road." And another predicted that he'll be making headlines once again. And others are calling out the system, saying that there's problems with it, arguing that a person should not have the ability to go to get a driver's license multiple times. They said 3 times, and you're out. You should be disqualified after that. So that's story number 1. Dude got his G2 after 11 fucking times. Second story, we got a man that called 911.
Sorry, wait. Did you say this guy was on Instagram? He was on Instagram talking about it?
He posted it, and that image went viral.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
that's how the
All
news
right.
story picked it up.
Okay.
So second, we got this guy called 911 because he placed an order and he got cold burgers and fries from Hamilton, so according to police. And he was very unhappy because the meal from McDonald's was cold, and so he called 911 as a result. And officers came out and they said he was irate and he received a cold hamburger and fries after ordering them through Uber Eats, according to a spokesperson. Wondering if the guy that had the the G2 11 times, maybe he was trying to wait to pass before he could actually deliver it. So it could be a tie into that first story. Anyways, it wasn't clear whether the restaurant or the food delivery service was to blame for the not so fast food, but the unsatisfactory customer was reminded that a cold meal was no reason for an emergency response. And police were pissed off at the fact that people are using this for more common things like this, and the McDonald's mix-up is not a good reason for people to do it, and this is a good lesson for people not to do it. He says it's by doing this, it takes up resources, ties up their lines, and it makes more difficult for people with serious emergencies to get through to dispatchers. Should be for life and death, not for cold burgers. So we got the 911 for the cold hamburger and fries, and we have 11 attempts to get.
I mean,
11.
I gotta think that the Brampton guy is the 11 attempts at the driver's license. What I can't believe is he posted it on Instagram.
Where else would you post
whose account? I'm trying to figure out like the logistics here. So the driving school that helped him pass was the one who posted it, or he?
No,
posted
he
it?
posted it. He was a proud individual. I achieved my G2.
Do you have a link? Do you have a link to this? Can we put this up on the screen? Can we view this together?
Yeah, I can send it. So
put it up.
You are correct. I'll send it to you in the private, and you can post it here. So
okay, hold on. Let's see. We're going long here, but I mean, whatever. Who cares?
So yeah, you're correct. So it is the Brampton man got his G2 after 11 attempts.
Come on, man. Come on. Are you fucking kidding me? Hey, where's the post? Can I not see the post? Viral photo.
No,
here we go. No, I can see it. I can see it. Instagram.
You can open it up.
I'm gonna log into my Instagram. I just don't want to make sure that it doesn't show my my login if I sign in here. Not now.
So get this guy on the show.
This is actually nuts.
Since you have Instagram, I don't. Maybe you should reach out to him.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna against my better judgment here, I'm gonna share my Instagram screen. We're gonna watch this together. This is gonna be fucking great. Is this a video? No, it's not a video. But I'm still gonna put it up. Hold on. It says Brampton Man in the title of the fucking article. Oh my god. Okay, here's
What do you think I
the
searched for this shit?
here's the Brampton Man goes viral after passing his G2 test. Congratulations for clearing G2 road test in 11th attempt. Oh my god. These comments, Jesus Christ. This is nuts. Here it is.
You may want to blow it up if you can.
I'll try. Hold on. Let's see. Can I just make this? Can I make that the full screen? Yeah, I can. There we go. Does that help? I think people watch this in full screen anyway. It's small for us because we're watching on the little screen.
Control and scroll up on the mouse. I think that makes it bigger. Yeah.
This is nuts. Like, we need this guy's name. Do we not?
He's got it at the top, right? Isn't that him or no?
Who? Six Strip TV? No, that's not him.
No, it's not.
That's so dangerous. Like, what is the point of having that allowed?
There's no limits. You just keep going until you find the right set of answers to satisfy it. Oh, it's a road test.
Road test for G2. Yeah, road test for G2.
Yeah. So
I failed my G2 the first time, by the way. Or not my G2, my G test. I failed my G test the first time. Yeah. I was trying to turn
I'm
right.
old enough I didn't have to go through that.
Wow, lucky. Graduated licensing is a lot of fun. What a cash grab too. You have to
I
take
did that for my
courses.
motorcycle license. I did that.
Yeah,
I
sure.
graduated for it. But for my G now, I just was
lucky because it's a cash grab. Anyway, that's it for tonight. God bless you. We may or may not see you Wednesday. We'll see, but we'll eventually see you again. Could be next Monday. We'll talk. In the meantime, take care of yourselves.
Stay off the roads.